What's up, and welcome to the Weightlifting Way of Life podcast. We're your hosts. I'm Ryan Capers. This is Bailey Forrest and Dr. CJ DePalma, the Movement Doctor. We are bringing you an awesome show today about a nifty new tool in the fitness world. CJ, if you will bring us in on the topic, please.
All right. So, guys, welcome to episode 15. And today we're talking about the Theragun and its benefits.
I thought it was a ray gun.
Ray gun. Well, it's like the same thing, right? I don't know.
Theragun,
Is it the
ray
brand?
gun.
Is Ray Gun the brand?
No, it's a Theragun. It's called
Theragun.
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 Yes, the Theragun. And it is making its waves and moves around the country on everyone's Instagram and within PT clinics and gyms.
One sec, gotta let the dog out.
Sorry about that. I'm back. But I don't know. It's like a little gun that massages you, and it kind of just like vibrates on your skin. They made a good post that it improves blood flow. Fucking things that improve blood flow. It's amazing.
Everything improves blood flow.
It's like walking is just like not an option anymore. Or
you pound this thing against your shin or against your skin, and new capillaries just start forming underneath.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And actually,
it's magic.
It's actually red blood cell production.
Oh, wow.
Whoa.
Wow.
So, anyways, the Theragun is just another passive modality or massage tool similar to Graston tools or any type of manual intervention, but it vibrates, right? And it shoots. It looks like a jigsaw with like a little crossbar on the end.
Here's the crazy thing. Okay, when I was playing college football, around the time that we first met, this is like circa 2010.
Mm-hmm.
In the training room, they had a tool in there. It was called a DMS, and it was a stainless steel item. It had a handle and it had a piece that came across, and then it had a steel cylinder, probably about an inch and a half wide, that went in and out very, very quickly.
Right. Yeah. That thing's expensive.
Right.
That was like the first one.
Right. But this isn't a new concept. This has been around for a long time.
Right. It's just the cheapest one ever.
Right. And how much is it?
$600.
It's not very cheap.
Yeah.
It is when you're comparing them to $3,000 or $4,000 products. Like the DMS.
Right.
The DMS, actually, I'm pretty sure the DMS when it was new was like $10,000.
Oh my gosh.
Not kidding.
That's crazy.
Isn't it? Isn't that insane?
For just a cylinder that pumps in and out. It does nothing other than like can you imagine how cheap the mechanisms for that must be?
Oh yeah.
Like
Yeah.
It probably costs them $1 to make it. I would be
definitely way more than $1.
No, I bet you, like except for maybe some of the false research and stuff that they did, it probably cost them in China. It probably cost them $1 to make it.
No way.
I'm serious. I've worked in production buying stuff from China, and it's always way cheaper than you think.
But it's not $1. It's probably like $40.
It's stainless steel with a cylinder that pumps in and out when you press a button.
Are you talking about the DMS thing?
Yes.
Oh, well, I'm saying the whole thing to make is like even the mechanism itself, like the whole tool.
What is it?
You don't think so? I don't know.
It looks like it's a mechanical pump.
Yeah, it looks like I don't know. I mean, it looks like a little jigsaw.
But I guarantee you, this is the mechanism. It's an electrical motor that whenever you increase pressure, it increases speed. Connected to a small lever arm, connected to the cylinder.
Yeah, I mean,
it's the simplest thing in the world.
I agree with you.
I mean, think about like a Sawzall.
Right.
It's the same thing.
Yeah,
it's the same mechanism.
Saw. Yeah.
You know, and I can go right up the street and buy a Sawzall for $5 at Harbor Freight. It's going to be broken in a week, but still, but I mean, are we on the same page?
Yeah.
This is ridiculous.
Sure. Yeah, but so this technology or this, I don't know, whatever it is, tool, maybe method, whatever, has been around for a while. Thing, and it's just been kind of rebranded, and it's really like making its way into a lot of PT clinics. And I know this is
don't they all though?
Yeah. So I know this is like a fitness and weightlifting podcast, but we're gonna talk directly PT today, and
let's do it. You act like we have never done that,
right?
Except for every other episode,
right? But my biggest thing, I think my biggest problem with it is
Something just happened?
No, it was okay.
Oh, whew.
We're okay. We're okay.
It was just like out. Sorry about that. Technical difficulties. So a couple things. One, it's just another tool that does nothing. It makes you feel better, but it doesn't. We're not creating any physiological change. We know that, right? We know that. But does it have its place anywhere? I don't know. I think because I've used a tool like that, like when I set up at competitions, my treatments don't include education at that point in time. It's just pointless. Someone's about to go do another workout. They just want to feel better. So I've had people come and they brought tools similar to that, and we've used it. And
use it on me.
Yeah. So, and it feels good. It feels great. But my biggest thing is that it creates this mindset that people can't recover without it. Right? Same thing with floss. Same thing with Graston tools or massage or cupping. All of it. And that's where my biggest issue comes in is, why can't we recover without it? Because we become lazy and weak-minded, and we have a poor perception of what the body is capable of doing, which is a fucking lot, by the way. It's pretty much capable of doing
the ultimate adaptation machine on the planet. There's nothing on the planet that adapts like the human body does.
Right. So secondary to that point is, does it taint the physical therapy profession and make us these maintenance people of like, hey, you're sore, come see me for your fucking tune-up.
Yeah.
If I see another fucking tune-up post on someone's physical therapy page, I'm going to lose my shit.
A tune-up post.
Tune-up.
I haven't seen that. Please,
tune-up.
Please delve into
I don't
this.
know. It's like 10 minutes and they make you fucking feel better, like a massage therapist. Nothing wrong against, I have nothing against massage therapists at all. There's a point and a place. But you have a $100,000 doctorate in your tuning up people. Like, you're creating change in 5 minutes.
People are like cars, right?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yes.
Tune them up.
So
sometimes your tires get out of alignment, right? That's a popular idea, right? You need an oil change. They'll give you oil change,
sit here and
change your air filter.
Whiskey-filled coffee.
When I was in physical therapy, I saw a ton of that. Just people coming on the regular, like 2 or 3 times a week, just to feel better, and then they would leave, do the exact same thing they're doing.
So can we agree that that a large amount of physical therapists are becoming the new chiropractors?
No, I disagree with that. Solely because that was a good one though. Solely because there's just not that many of them doing it. It's just the ones we see on Instagram. So it's not in the same echelon of people. You got to remember, 98% of physical therapists are still in a traditional setting where they can't do that. Okay. I'm with you. Now the ones that are in my style of setting, cash-based practice or their personal practice, they do that because that's how they stay afloat. And when people ask me how they should do it or how they should start their business, I tell them straight up, I'm like, if you offer manual and you offer these like maintenance and recovery sessions, you're going to do well.
Yeah. At the risk of your own integrity.
Well, hey, I didn't say that. Everyone has their own point to it, right? Business, is what it is, and I was fortunate enough to be able to, I would say, hold strong and not do it because I believe very strongly against things like that. Now,
and let's go into that a little bit more because these are things that in physical therapy school you're being taught, right?
Oh yeah,
you're being taught manual therapies and that they're important and that they do all these claims that are completely falsified by real research.
I think they have their place. I think there's definitely a time and place.
But there's a lot of claims that are made that are not true at all.
Oh yeah, well I mean the majority of what we're taught in school is so the way that research works is it takes almost 17 years for current research to be put in the school system. 17 years. Well, that's so long.
It takes 4 years just to be published.
No, it takes 10 years to be published.
Oh, excuse me.
10 years to be published in a textbook. So.
Oh no, I'm talking about published publicly.
Right. So it does
in a journal.
It does take a long time.
In a journal. From my knowledge, it takes about 4 years to be in a journal.
Now
which is whenever it's seen as real to most people.
Right. Well, it's honestly with social media, it's getting faster. And the the approval boards are moving quicker through it, and they're also just publishing a lot more stuff. Even stuff that doesn't need to be published that has very, very, very poor methods, math, and things like that. So basically research that's just not true, and it's making its way into things like PubMed or national journals and things like that. But I think that it's a tough thing to morally justify that you're recovering. And I know we're making people feel better with modalities like this, but again, at what expense? Are we creating a resilient athlete? Are we creating a reliant athlete? You know, someone who now is taking their recovery out of there. And I'm not saying that, you know, manual intervention things aren't important at all. I think they have a role, right?
Sure, I agree.
I do. You know, for someone who's training extremely hard, I think it can help.
Well, and I think it's like it's spot fixes, right? If if you're starting to train one day and you really crushed your quads the day before or something, and you want to take a buffer to your quads a little bit to help them feel a little bit better before you train, I don't see any problem with that at all.
Yeah. I think again, I agree. It's how much.
Well, no, yeah. I'm just saying. I'm saying this is a once thing. Like you did. You did 300 wall balls the day before. Now your quads are absolutely smoked, and you got to move around the next day. Right. So and if you jump straight into a squat, it's not going to feel great.
You would program 300 wall balls. That doesn't surprise me at all.
Hey, sometimes you got to put it on the paper just to see if they'll do it.
Jesus Christ. So my biggest thing with that is the claims that the company is making are bogus overall.
And so this is the root issue to me. All right. So we have these companies get to survive, right? This company has come on the scene not long ago.
They're crushing it.
And they are everywhere. They're absolutely everywhere. You'll scroll down your Instagram feed, you'll see an ad for them, and then you'll see some big name, fence to person using it.
Vinny Rehab. Murder.
So
hate that guy. And I'll be very public about it.
Next you're going to see the functional patterns guy using it. He probably already does.
He blocked me.
Of course he did.
Yeah, of course he blocked me.
Of course he did.
And all I did was say that, squatting with your feet straight is not that important, and he got pissed.
Right. Of course he did. Anyway, so here's the huge underlying issue is that these companies can survive and absolutely thrive because of the culture of physical therapy. And not just physical therapy. I say that as an umbrella term, meaning, and that falls under athletic training, chiropractors, massage therapists, all of these.
Sports med.
Okay, sports med. Let's do that. Sports med, that we let all this stuff survive. And I think one of the biggest culprits is chiropraction. Because you see, and there are good chiropractors out there. Yeah. There are good ones.
The ones who don't pop backs every day.
That really explore their scope of field, and they really help people. Yeah. Right? But there is an overwhelming majority of them that are just telling people, you need to come in every week for a realignment. It's that kind of ideology that is killing the idea of recovery.
Or just any type of body maintenance or body well-being overall.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, because it's all about being reliant on something. Man.
I'm so proud right now. I'm so proud right now. If any of you don't know, Ryan, take that directly from me, and I'll take all the credit for that. And I'm so happy.
So like yesterday I had to stifle myself from just losing it on one of our freshman football players at the school. This kid said, "Huh?"
I said, "Ooh, do tell."
So this kid, he comes up to me, and this kid, he's a very, very talented freshman. He's probably he very potentially might even be a varsity starter this year. This kid is an absolute freak of nature.
As a freshman?
As a freshman. He's an incredible athlete. Wow. Big kid. And so anyway, we told him he needs to be doing the workouts with the freshmen because they're not really doing much. They're just kind of learning right now. And then we wanted him to come work out with the older guys too, right? Because he's been training for a long time, so he's not really getting anything out of the freshman stuff. And so he came in before workouts. He said, "Hey, I'm not going to be able to work out with the big guys today. I have a chiropractor appointment." I was like, "Okay, why do you have a chiropractor appointment?" He's like, "Oh, I go every month to get realigned or readjusted, whatever." And it took everything in me not to really break it down for him.
Yeah, it's tough. It's really
there's
hard.
going to be a time and a place.
Yeah.
And when that time and place comes, he will be educated.
Right.
But it was not yesterday.
That's good. It's tough, man. When I can't count, when, and it's no one in.
Yeah, I'm sure that's a daily occurrence for you.
Yeah, it's especially when I'm out at community events and everyone comes in, more so a lot of the CrossFitters not around here, because I think the message is getting out.
Yeah.
And I think that's a good thing. But, people that come in from out of town, like, oh, yeah, I got regular PT visits. They realign my hips, right? And I'm like, oh, that's interesting. And they're like, oh, my hip's out of whack. Or, I'm like, well, what does that mean? They're like, well, I'm like, have you ever dislocated something? Yes, no. Even if they say no, they still understand, right? You've seen someone dislocate? Yeah, I've seen someone. It's painful, isn't it? It's very painful. They're screaming, they're crying, they're wailing. They look like a dead fish on the floor. And then they pop it back in, or they have to get carted to the emergency room to do so. So if you think something is out of whack, not in the right place, you're sadly mistaken. It doesn't work like that. The body is much stronger than that. Cadavers still have to be cut open and moved around with a saw, sometimes an electrical saw, depending on how big the person is. And so guess what? Your likelihood of subluxations or, rotations, innominants, alignment issues are piss poor in nature, and they aren't happening.
Yeah.
I just want to make that clear.
I like the stance.
So let's reel it in a little bit. So with the Theragun, all right, what kind of claims are they making that this does, or what have you seen other people claiming that it does?
Oh, it's the same as all manual interventions, which is blood flow.
Is blood flow the main one? You've mentioned that a couple times.
Yeah, that's what everyone claims. Increasing blood flow, right? Because we know that increases.
Because it makes your skin red when you do it.
Well, it does. It doesn't. It does create a local increase in blood,
right?
Because you're hitting it. If I punched you a couple times in the arm,
it's called bruising.
Same thing would happen. But again, it's like is a local increase in blood flow as good as a systemic? No, it's not. So you can create the same result from 5 minutes on the air bike.
So it's not. So does it claim like the
fascia?
Not fascia. Everybody talks about fascia. Like the like what massage always talks about, like releasing knots and things like that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So I don't want to get into trigger points, but trigger points aren't real.
Yeah, trigger points. Yeah.
The research is not there. Trigger points aren't even defined as a term. It's it's unfortunate. It even has a fucking diagnosis code, but there's no definition of it. There's no true definition of a trigger point. They're not real. Now, a muscle knot and a trigger point, people are knotted.
So I grab Bailey's shoulder here,
it fucking
hurts. And I feel a little knot in here.
It hurts, but guess what? So trigger points are the concept that they come and go, right? I bet if you grab there 1,000 times over 1,000 days, you'd have 1,000 different responses. Some days it would feel like more, some days it would feel like less, but it would always be there in some form or fashion. Some days it might not hurt, and some days it might.
Right.
It's just the spot. It's just the thing. It's the muscle. It's there, right? They don't come and go. It's not like all of a sudden you got a knot one day and then you don't. Now you might be symptomatic. Great. I'm sorry. You trained hard, or you got something, right? Or you're so stuck in the mindset that you have trigger points that they're everywhere. Like I got them everywhere. Like, my favorite one's like, my calves are really tight. I'm like, you got a sensitive spot right there, and you can poke at it. Everyone's got the same spot.
Yeah.
So everyone's got the same exact trigger point. Not likely.
Right.
So again, they claiming to reduce soreness. Yeah, it probably does reduce soreness, but again, so does just getting out and walking. Same thing. Maybe not as fast, not as convenient. But my favorite thing of all of this is when I educate someone on how to treat themselves and how to get better on their own, or someone being compared to someone who uses a gun and just holds it and goes, "Mean." Some people feel like the "mean" is a better value than my education to them.
Yeah.
Or we'll just say in general, say me specifically, just education in general. Right? Old teach a man to fish. Yeah. Right.
Right. And I get where that comes from, because somebody's coming into your facility and they're paying you to fix them, right? Because that's what we expect. We expect to go into our doctor's office and he's going to give us some pills and he's going to fix us, or he's going to send us to a surgeon and they're going to fix us,
right?
Or we're going to go to a physical therapist and they're going to put us through some exercises and they're going to fix us, right? And with this new wave of physical therapy that you're involved in, what you call it, the biopsychosocial, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So physical therapy, where it's more based on education and more so creating a strategy for the person,
right,
as opposed to you just doing everything for them and making them completely non-independent.
Right.
I mean, I can see where people have a hard time digesting it because it is new. There's nothing in the medical world. There's nothing like that.
Right.
I mean, except maybe apart from like a psychologist.
Yeah.
And psychologists aren't even held on the pedestal that psychiatrists are, where they can prescribe you medicine. Right. So
it's interesting.
Right. It is very interesting.
I read a story the other day. It was like a little video story on Facebook, but it was basically this cruise ship was just built and they tried to turn the engines on and it wouldn't start. Right. Brought all these specialists in, paid all this money. No one could figure out what to do. They brought this guy that's been working on ships for 70 years or something. Right. He walks in with a little handbag of hand tools. This is like a big cruise ship, like the current one these days, right? Thousands and thousands and thousands of tons, right? Huge. Walks in, looks around for a day, and then pulls out a hammer, tinks on something, right? And the ship starts right up, right? He walks away. They say thank you, whatever. Everyone's really excited. The ship starts, big celebration. He sends them a bill for $10,000. And they're like, well, all you did was hit your hammer. And he's like, and he responds back with, you're not paying for the actual work done. You're paying for the understanding of I knew exactly what to do and no one else did, right? And not saying that that's what we do. We don't know exactly what to do, but people only feel like they should pay for like an actual, referring it back to PT or like hands-on or like something directly like that. That's going to fix them on the spot, but all of the other stuff behind the scenes is what you really are paying for, right?
Yeah.
Or that's what you should be appreciating the most.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's perfect sense that you're not just paying for that 45-minute intervention. You're paying for, 10 plus years of research and studying and understanding how your body specifically works and moves.
And the Theragun doesn't have that research, by the way.
No. The Theragun is bullshit.
Yeah.
We can close out on that one.
All right. Well, thank you guys. I hopefully we didn't rant too much. We are just a coach, an athlete, and a physio talking nonsense, Theraguns, bullshit, training, weightlifting, and getting swole. Talk to you guys next time. See ya.
See ya.